hero middle schooler, Jeremy Woodstick, took charge when his school bus driver passed out while driving. The driver had started waving his arms and couldn't breathe, and as the bus swerved, he went unconscious. The 7th grader took the wheel and was able to steer the bus to safety, keeping those on the road, and his 15 other fellow students free from harm. When the bus pulled to a stop at the side of the road, he took the keys out of the ignition. Meanwhile, the police had already been notified of the school bus swerving across the road, so they showed up to the scene to find Jeremy had stopped the bus near their destination school. John McCrossan, a school staff member who'd been driving past, also managed to administer CPR to the bus driver, who had suffered from a heart-related problem. While folks lined up to hail Jeremy as a hero, he said everything happened so quickly, and he was just acting on instinct. But let's not be modest, a hero is a hero. Onto Sikder celebrates New Year's Eve the paranormal way by making this scary ghost video in India, an exploration which turns out way scarier than any of them would have imagined. They're exploring some haunted places in the woods that have them on edge, but it's what they've caught on camera in the woods that leaves them stunned. Watch what happens while Onto conducts the investigation.
আমরা সত্যি আজকে ভূত দেখব, সামনাসামনি দেখব, আমরা ভূতের মোকাবেলা করব।
Something strange rushes behind them and doesn't return. I would say that this is one of his friends, except the way it moves looks too creepy to not at least consider the paranormal. There's no bounce in their step at all, and I don't think it's anybody he recognizes later. It looks like an apparition gliding without a sound, and then mysteriously it disappears, presumably back into the haunted woods from where it came. Worms aren't only found in insects. They can also be found in that next bell pepper you buy from the produce aisle. The uploader writes, "That thing was in a pepper. Looks like he wants to grow in someone's gut, lol." What is that thing? The thing looks like a tapeworm, but according to Snopes, the worm inside the pepper actually isn't that dangerous. The viral video came to light in August of 2019. The stringy worm moving inside the pepper was something a lot of viewers couldn't unsee apparently, and many saw it, as it was reposted on Facebook a million times, with viewers warning about the worm. Some posts warned that the worm was called Symbla Merch, and that it was a new type of worm that delves into moist areas of the body, resulting in possibly passing away. The claims, however, like so many posts on Facebook, were inaccurate. One said it might be a horsehair worm, which we talked about in the previous parasite entry, but adult horsehair worms are darker. Even the original message was false. This is not a new type of worm. It's been around since the dawn of time. Lesson learned: clean and prepare your green peppers properly, but still eat them. Another lesson learned: remember that guy who was caught on a Ring doorbell video licking someone's doorbell? Well, we've just found his soulmate. Posted in December of 2017, the footage shows a young blonde woman approach the doorbell. At first, it appears as if it was provoked by a dare. The woman walks up to the doorbell, holds up her hands strangely, as though she knows she's on candid camera, and then looks over to her right, as if looking at someone out of frame. But then she walks back, just standing awkwardly, looking around at random, before approaching the door again. Is she waiting for someone to answer? Maybe, but what she does while waiting is not normal. The woman opens her mouth wide, moving closer to the camera, and you can actually hear her bite. She then backs away again, as though nothing happened, appears to be waiting for a moment, then starts to do this. Well, it's all well and good to get your daily exercise in. Doing that on someone's doorstep late at night after biting their security camera seems a little out of it, don't you agree? Nadeem Shah suspects he's caught some paranormal things on video when he goes exploring an abandoned building that is little more than pillars in the dark. He suspects a place this creepy has to be haunted, and the ghost hunter's instincts are not wrong.
हम देखते हैं अगर हमें कोई यहाँ पे भारी चीज़ या कोई जिनों का साया नज़र आता है कि नहीं। हम जिन की तलाश में निकल तो नाजरीन ये कुछ हिलता हुआ हमें नज़र आया है, तो ये आवाज़ें कैसी आ रही हैं? आए नाजरीन हम हिम्मत करके वहाँ जाने की कोशिश करते।
2 ghost sightings are enough for Nadim. He needs a paranormal encounter up close to be fully convinced. He follows the ghost into the darkness for one final sighting.
इसको देखते हैं ये कौन सी मखलूक है, क्या चीज़ है, इसको हम पकड़ने की कोशिश करते हैं। ये इस तरफ से नज़र आ रही है, इधर से हम जाने की कोशिश करते हैं।
He's all alone when a slow-moving shadow figure glides across the pillar without making a sound. It's not someone walking behind him either, because Nadim would already be blocking out the light himself. It's a real ghost sighting as far as I'm concerned. A paranormal entity, a moving shadow that deeply creeps him out and sends him on his way. Enough said. Apparently, ghosts like peering out of windows, because here's another creepy phantom showing up when you least expect him. This YouTuber captured this ghostly white figure staring out of the upper window of a nearby brick building. She posted the footage to YouTube in June of 2010, explaining that she took the video on her cell phone while playing on the green. She writes, "We saw a face in the window of a locked room. Kieran, the manager, took us up to look afterwards, but there was nobody there and the room is out of use. Couldn't sleep after I took this." As mentioned, Demi was taking the video of some guys playing catch on the lawn when one of them spotted the figure in the upper window, alerting Demi to the terrifying watcher. She zooms in on the window to catch the pale face of a young boy in the lower left corner. The figure slowly moves out of view. The remainder of the video shows the group climbing the stairs to see who is watching them from the upper room. When they arrive there, it's empty and looks as though it has been for years. There's graffiti on the walls and it appears no one lives there. Many in the comments call the video unsettling, noting that's not how a person moves. Ghost or not, I wouldn't want to run into this boy anywhere, let alone in this room. A rough landing in Buckland, Alaska becomes even scarier when you learn all of the things the pilot said. The fact that anyone is alive is a miracle. They were trying to keep the plane from sharply veering to the right and colliding with everyone below. The plane's steering was off and nobody knew to get out of the way, and it's not like planes have horns or anything, so there was no way to tell them that they were in the way, while everyone on the ground was folding their arms and waiting. The pilot was freaking out and applying a maneuver called asymmetric reverse thrust. Basically, he reversed the engines to change the trajectory of the landing. It cost him a wheel but spared others their lives. So the lesson of this scary video is to assume the worst and give planes plenty of room to land. Situations like this don't always have happy endings. Sometimes you're not safe even inside your locked home. This video proves it. In June of 2018, 2 separate Ring doorbells caught a woman trying to enter into Denver area homes. While several of the enterings were only attempts, one was successful. At 4 a.m., the unlucky homeowner, fast asleep along with his wife and 2 sons, said that he heard his back door open and after slowly walking jumped into action. He launched downstairs, shouting if there was anyone down there, and he came upon the culprit in action, racing from the living room to the front door. The next door neighbor managed to capture her red-handed, but to his surprise, not only did the Ring video capture the woman at the neighbor's house, but it caught her attempted entering of his own home too. As it turns out, the culprit wasn't done. The following day, another nearby neighbor caught the brazen woman on his Ring security camera, also trying to enter. It is very scary that she came back to the same street that next night, the homeowner said. She allegedly made off with the family heirlooms and his wife's wedding ring. The family's sense of security is their greatest loss, however. Almost a week later, it's hard to sleep at night. We feel violated as a family, the homeowner said. Will you be able to sleep tonight?
A YouTuber named Dave World catches what in his words is a ghost standing in the middle of the road motionless. Or it could be a kid standing in the road to be weird, as somebody else points out. I thought this video looked familiar, and then I remembered this strange roadside encounter that Chills covered a while back. This is what a YouTuber named Joe Rob TV saw 2 years prior. I don't know if they are the same person or not, but both are standing with their arms behind their back in the exact same way and have a bizarre long neck and big ears, so there's a strong chance. One video has short sleeves and the other has long sleeves. A ghost doesn't change clothes, so I don't think it's a ghost. I'll keep looking for videos of this strange highway humanoid, who I'm gonna call the long neck man, and keep you updated.
Have you ever heard a banshee or seen one? You're about to. Posted by Omni King Arceus 2 to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the uploader claims this video may be proof of the existence of banshees. Dressed in long green dresses under grey cloaks with long hair and red eyes from constant crying. Banshees appear or are heard by those whose family members or acquaintances have passed. The banshee's cry is described as mournful beyond all other sounds on earth, and when heard in the silent night, it is said to predict the passing of someone close to the listener, or may even be a warning of the person's own forthcoming passing. This clip shows an Irish woman named Nicole walking from a shrieking sound outside her home. For some reason, she decides to head out into the darkness to investigate. While outside, she pauses for a moment to listen, and the haunting wailing is heard again. As she continues wandering in the darkness, she addresses whatever creature is making the noise, saying she's not there to hurt it, but to help it. Not long after, there's a shape in the darkness. You can hardly make it out, but it appears like a robed figure. Again, the shrieking noise is heard. The frightened young woman turns to hurry back inside. In the extended version of the video, the woman explains what happened after she returned home. She said when she arrived at the back door, it was locked. She went to another back door and there was a comb on her desktop. She says she doesn't use combs. She wonders if ghosts groom themselves. What is going on here? Angela Elliott added that if you hear the banshee, then an acquaintance will pass away, and if you see one, then you will. As a matter of fact, in the clip, Nicole gets a phone call telling her that a schoolmate was found passed away.
Unleashed with my dad against it and all. Back in a sec. I'm sorry, what?
But Nicole saw the banshee too. Will she be next? There's nothing more haunted than something that moves of its own accord, except maybe when it jolts aggressively of its own accord. Submitted to Reddit by Nick4566. This swing in India is not child's play. Nick writes, this was seen in a well-known city of India. The park is closed since a year as a lady took her own life here long back, and the park is not used by children. Watch the swing at the beginning of the clip flinging back and forth on its own. It's a bit unnerving already, but as some in the comments point out, someone might have pushed it before the person began filming. You probably thought that yourself, but watch further. The swing slows halfway through the video only to suddenly jolt back to life. Flinging aggressively back and forth. The leaves in the surrounding trees are barely fluttering, so none of this could be due to wind or nature. It's completely supernatural. Could the spirit of the woman who took her life still be here? And why is she swinging? We may never know. The State Line Bridge connects Virginia to North Carolina, but locals call it Satan's Bridge due to the large amount of ritual activity going on under there. A YouTuber named Scary Weather made a documentary about it almost 20 years ago, and recently came across the footage again. The first half of the video shows nothing but animal bodies littering the ground, which I can't show here. He then comes back the next day and videotapes all of the weird graffiti and other ritualistic scenes, like these 5 rocks for example. If you happen to know what this symbol means, or what enchantments were being cast here, then please share what you know, and also tell me what the white paint means here, because I honestly can't even begin to guess.
Also, you see here 5 stones with a white mark in them.
This part of the bridge looks like it could be some sort of altar. There's a huge dark red stain on the ground that trails off into tiny blotches. Something tells me that's probably not paint, but let me know what you think. There's one last fact about this location that I have to tell you. Now, I'm not a numerical conspiracy theorist by any means, but the identification number of this state bridge happens to be 6906. If you take out the 0 and flip the middle 6, you get 3 6s in a row. This retro arcade room is ruined by faulty wiring, or else a real ghost. To demonstrate, the owner picks up the remote to his ceiling fan and turns the light off.
Let's see. Oh, there it is. Wow.
The lights somehow turn on by themselves despite not touching the remote at all. At 4 seconds, we can see the nearest light switches all the way across the room from the distinctive shark skateboard that he's now standing by. So he couldn't have hit that himself, and no one else is with him. Then, not only does the fan turn on by itself, but it also kind of goes the wrong way for a little bit first, which I don't think is normal. In a different video, the light looks much brighter than before, yet returns to normal brightness when turned off and back on. This time he turns the light out and leaves the remote on the wall. He steps out towards the middle of the room, and the light comes back on before he even gets a chance to properly set up his camera. Based on what I've seen here, I think these videos are real, because nothing stood out as blatantly fake. If this house is haunted, let's just hope it's not a malevolent spirit. After all, you wouldn't want to give up an arcade setup that nice. A YouTuber named Stuart Drake says that he found this old VHS tape, which only had 1999 written on the side and nothing more. Someone is exploring an old schoolhouse all alone, presumably at the turn of the century. The video looks pretty ordinary except for a few glitches like this one. Stuart Drake is checking out a small dead-end room when the deep rumbling sounds of electrical disturbance return. He turns around and comes face to face with something I'm not sure I even believe can be true. A lot of people swear that Slenderman is just a myth, but this video seems to say otherwise. If this tape is real and correctly dated, then this would mean Slenderman has been active for over 20 years.
This regular looking red vacuum is anything but, as it cleans the whole room without any human assistance. There's no reflection on the floor to indicate that anyone is standing off camera. With that said, I'm almost sure someone is dangling a string overhead, but I don't see where the person could be standing. The way it moves at the beginning looks like someone pushed it into frame. The base never moves again, but then it does something really weird by turning off all by itself. Obviously someone could have just unplugged it from the wall, but I think I hear the power click off. Maybe it was just the switch on the wall, or maybe it was a spirit, one that was there all along.
Most of the passengers have on headsets and are watching a mid-flight movie, but one of them sees a reoccurring image and takes out their phone. This brief clip is the final instance of what they saw. Floating up from one of the seats is a formless mist that briefly swirls into the shape of a twisted face and disappears. All airlines are smoke-free nowadays, but I suppose that could be another possibility. The San Antonio Cemetery in Texas could be one of the scariest places in the world to go exploring if this video is real. A ghost hunter from the Paranormal Journal stands in total darkness when some creepy things are caught on camera, and despite the lack of light, what he experiences is downright terrifying. His paranormal equipment detects movement, and then a single word crackles across the spirit box in an odd staticky voice. He never shows us exactly where he positioned the motion detection equipment, so it could be detecting his movement or a gust of wind for all we know. But here's something weird. If you look closely, there is a strange phantom light at 29 seconds, the same moment that the motion detection alarm goes off, that soon fades away. I would say there's another investigator, but I think that he might have been exploring the haunted cemetery all alone that night. If so, I have no idea what this light is, and even if it was a member of his team, that still doesn't explain the odd voice moments later that says hello. Orange orbs is how one witness describes this unexplained video of light spotted in the sky. Posted on January 16th, 2021, the bizarre sight was caught on Snapchat video hovering over the Bronx. What looks to be a starlit sky is anything but, as these mysterious stars start shifting in one direction as a single unit. I thought I heard creepy sounds coming from the sky too, as it passes, but I think it's traffic.
Those things are orange. Look at them. Next to each other. They literally fly next to each other. They're orange in color. They look like stars. Look at that. It's a triangle.
When you connect the points together, you can see he is right. The mysterious lights do seem to form a bizarre triangular shape in the sky. This observation makes me suspect that this strange sighting could be a government experiment. The outline looks like the same shape as the fabled Aurora project, but why the designers would put large visible lights on a stealth aircraft doesn't make sense, so that must not be what this is. The person recording is stunned beyond belief and turns to some strangers to talk about the encounter.
You guys know what that is? See that? Yo nunca he visto eso. Es una cosa anaranjada en triángulo. Mira cómo vuelan. No hacen sonido.
2 seconds later, the lights mysteriously change color, and one of them goes away completely. They continue hovering over a building for some time, and then the video ends before we get a chance to see if it lands or what. I'm not sure what to make of this mystery, and neither is anyone else who watched this video. Information is tight, and I couldn't find any other videos, but one person living in the Bronx says there were actually 5 points in the sky when they saw it. Another person claims to have seen the same thing 7 years ago in Virginia. But like I said, there's no video evidence besides this. The way the lights change colors makes me wonder if this is a drone. Apparently drones must have different color lights to indicate when they are changing directions according to the law. So people could be piloting them in a formation from the top of the building. Or maybe we've just been visited and now they're here. Nothing like a good legend to call up some creepy videos. Posted by YouTuber Leonardo Martinez in January of 2016. The video is entitled El Pombero and El Dorado, Misones Real. What is El Pombero? According to Latin American legend, the mythological gnome-like figure is rife in the Paraguayan forest, but can be found across southern Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay. Pombero is mainly seen at night in rural areas and forests. Holding up in sheds and abandoned structures, he likes to mimic bird sounds, and the inexplicable chirping of birds is said to indicate that Pombero is near. If anyone so much as speaks Pombero's name out loud, he will harass them. Now that you know the myth, let's take a look at this video, which claims to have caught live-action footage of the creature. Filmed in the forest, a group of folks are wandering through the trees when, off to the side, something that looks like a short stump starts to move. The figure hobbles in an uncanny way, leaning on a crutch. Needless to say, the people rush off in fear. It certainly looks jarring and uncannily real. If you live in Paraguay, I guess it's time to hide. You don't want to cross paths with this mischief maker. Watch the left side of your screen for something creepy. A large figure is bouncing up and down at the side of the road trying to get their attention. What they see when they drive past leaves them creeped out for life. This screenshot taken at exactly 7 seconds shows a weird fish-like head turning one oversized eye towards the camera for a closer look. I was thinking this could be like a company mascot or something, but they aren't standing in front of a business and they aren't holding a sign. Has this car full of friends caught an authentic unknown creature sighting on camera like they claim? I wish they would have driven back around for another look, but I can understand them not wanting to risk it. Nothing like an old village to cruise for some ghosts. Published in September of 2015, this footage purportedly shows a ghost near some old village homes. It's unclear where this video was shot, so it could be any old village anywhere in the world. Let's explore it. The clip takes in the surrounding area of these homes. Nothing appears out of place, although the homes seem to be abandoned. The camera follows some birds on a roof before panning down to capture some ants on the ground. The shot pulls up from the grass and mud and pans around the area. That's when you see it. Too quick to make out any details. An apparition in all black appears on screen for a brief moment, standing off in the distance on some pavement. The figure is still as the shot moves around. What is this? Do you think it's a ghost too? That's at least what the uploader claims. Many have debated whether it is or not, and with no other footage, it will most likely remain a mystery for the foreseeable future. This leaked video is over 10 years old and comes from Tacoma County in Washington. A couple are hiking together on Valentine's Day when they hear something in the sky and look up.
Oh my god.
That is on fire.
Yeah, it is. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Holy shit.
Some kind of meteorite falls towards Earth, and they rush down the path to investigate. They quickly find the rock sticking out of the ground and make a quick video to document their find.
Get me and it.
Yes, it is. Go talk,
This
please.
thing has come out of the sky.
Their reactions seem pretty real, but I'm not sure if I believe that a meteorite could land that closely without causing some kind of damage to them. Let me know if you think this video is legitimate. I'm especially interested in learning exactly what happens to people who are close to a meteorite, because from what I understand, I thought they usually go deaf from the impact. If mysterious creatures with tails make you nervous, then strap in for this video posted to Reddit by Scentless Grape. The video shows horsehair worms leaving their host. Horsehair worms are parasites that usually range from 2 to 3.9 inches long and are often found in bodies of water and other damp areas. Only the larvae are parasitic on beetles, cockroaches, and other insects. In this case, what appears to be a praying mantis. Watching something that is 100% real and insanely disturbing is enough to make anyone nervous. Can you handle this horror you can't ever unsee? Nah, neither can I.
This CCTV video captures some strange activity after hours, beginning with the pages of this magazine that move all on their own, almost like someone is flipping them just like any other day in the waiting room. You probably thought this was the work of a ghost, and I did too, but if so, then you and I are both wrong. In the center of the room forms a swirling tornado. Look at how the chairs move at exactly 1 minute. The ones in the eye of the storm are safe for a little bit longer. This is definitely a tornado and not the work of a spirit. But how does a tornado seemingly form in the middle of a room? Maybe this is a poltergeist destroying the whole building after all.
For most ghost investigators, their only tool is their camera. These men, however, had other plans. Published to YouTube by Luan Mendez in December of 2019, this footage claims to capture the ghost of the girl in white. In the video, 2 men enter an abandoned house at night, calling out for the girl in white to reveal herself. The home and its surroundings seem empty at first, but as they wander around the house in search of the phantom, of course they find exactly what they were looking for. The first sighting of the girl in white is caught outside the home. They turn towards the doorway and, out in the field, the dark-haired figure dressed in a white t-shirt is standing at a distance. They scream in fear and rush towards the other side of the house. Lon manages to scrape his leg in the process. They return to the doorway where they saw the girl in white, but she's disappeared. Exploring the space more, they decide to enter a space under the home where the floorboards are missing. When one of the crew is down there, he captures the girl in white yet again, standing in the corner of the room above. The other guy, who's on the top floor, hears his friend's cries and captures the door to the room closing at the same time. They both race outside to see if the girl in white exits the building, but she is nowhere to be found. However, when they return to investigate the room, the door starts to slam repeatedly. This is the last straw for the investigators as they race outside and across the field, far away from the haunted place. Who can blame them? Oftentimes, creepy things happen when you least expect it, but it's a rarity when you capture that moment on video. In this video's description, the uploader Junked Up Kitten notes that the footage was simply meant to be the crew fooling around, but instead they captured footage in the old county jail that once you see it, you can't unsee it. The uploader explains that the building manager of this defunct jail was friends of his father, so he let the boys film for nearly 6 hours. The group just wanted to fool around in there. They never imagined they'd catch anything spooky, and that's when things got real. We had no intention of actually looking for ghosts. We were just being dumb kids, the uploader writes. However, when we were editing our spoof, we found this face in the window. Only the 3 boys, the uploader and his 2 friends were on site when the footage was captured. His friends were sitting at the booking desk while the uploader is in frame, oblivious to the man's face behind him, with a mouth wide open as though it's yelling. The spooky image appears to be in a holding cell window, holding cells that were locked at the time, as they were used for storage. When the boy's face crosses the window's path, the screaming image slowly vanishes. Could it be a man now secretly living in the building? Maybe, or possibly some psycho spirit haunting his former holding cell.
Ken 1082 catches what he claims is a mysterious light that's not part of a storm. It almost has to be a storm, but a user named Combat points out a strange and creepy figure standing in the doorway when the lightning flashes. The lights flicker on and off in the room to reveal a person who was apparently standing there the whole time. Let me know if you see them and what you think it was. This video was posted on the Chills Narrators subreddit, so I wanted to know what you make of it.
Have you ever come across a video so scary that you don't want to inflict that feeling of impending doom on others? This video was posted by Hirsch Dutchy to the Chills Narrators subreddit. The Redditor asks for some help in discerning what's happening here. Dutchy is in an abandoned house that's littered with junk. While wandering around the space, he arrives at the kitchen. You can see the cupboard door is slightly ajar. A moment later, it opens wider on its own. The Redditor said he didn't notice this strange event at the moment. It was only when he was showing his mother the video later that he realized something unseen might have been in the house with him. Well, Dutchy asked for help explaining this, and plenty of Redditors rose to the occasion. Many in the comments of this clip suggest that the wind and the open door were involved, noting that you can hear the wind and see the plants moving outside.
Nails or anything like that.
The Redditor agrees that it's probably the wind, but wanted to see what others thought, whether or not there may be a paranormal theory. He also notes that the wind wasn't blowing in the direction to open the door. Redditor Caliana78, however, appears to disagree with the others, writing, "If it were the wind that blew that open, why wasn't all the junk blowing around as well?" What do you think? Is this just another episode of wind and airstreams causing movements in inanimate objects? Or is there something seriously dark going on in this house? There's nothing more disturbing than the sound of an unexpected and unknown siren. What could possibly be impending? A tornado tearing through the town? What are we being warned about? Posted by Epic Memer Boy 0123 to the Chills Narrator subreddit. The uploader writes that he started to hear sirens randomly midday. In the clip, the sirens sound quite high-pitched, almost like a car horn beeping long and restlessly. Several in the comments suggest it's a test siren of some kind, either for tornado warnings or other emergencies. The Redditor clarifies that it lasted for around 10 to 15 minutes. Superman Connor writes, that definitely sounds too long to be a tornado siren then. When the Redditor mentions that a friend said it was an air raid siren, Superman responds those only last about 30 seconds. It seems the Redditor isn't the only one suffering from unknown siren syndrome. The Wastelander 96 writes, something similar happened near here a couple nights ago when the sirens just went off for like 10 to 15 minutes and then just stopped. Perhaps it is an emergency siren that they are testing, but for a different kind of emergency. Wonder what that could be.
You see it?
Yeah. What is that?
Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Something strange is in the woods. Nathan Arnold later writes of the unknown creature he's caught on camera. He and his son both saw it and managed to record video evidence for us to look over. Fortunately for their safety, but unfortunate for my analysis, is their distance from the figure. The creepy video is taken far away, so I don't know if this video's a creature, a ghost sighting, or not real at all. The way he and his son both stare in amazement and then run away when the mysterious figure turns in his direction seems like a real enough reaction and not made up. At 26 seconds, it almost looks like somebody wearing a black robe, like a witch or something. The possibilities are endless and none of them are good. The point is, I wouldn't be going back into those woods anytime soon if I were them. It's too scary to handle. This giant sky disturbance over Japan was captured on multiple cameras in 2013, so there's little doubt that it is real. The question then becomes not if this happened, but rather what caused it. I think that this was most likely a comet, but others claim this is clearly a failed Russian rocket launch or even a UFO. Watch this part and you can see how the comet becomes very bright as it hits Earth's atmosphere, and then fizzles out quickly. At the same time, I can definitely see how people would think this was a UFO blasting into deep space, or a rocket disintegrating. It does seem to kind of disappear without warning. So let me know which of these three possibilities you think it was. A lot of scary ghost sightings involve a doorway or a window. They always seem to be haunting a passageway leading into the house. At 31 seconds, a pale apparition leans in to peek through the doorway of this building. Then the mysterious figure is gone, disappeared. I couldn't find anything to explain what was moving in the door. The ghost hunter later explains, after doing some more research, he says this haunted place is home to voices of children laughing and playing, stories that further creep him out. This building was a funeral home before the haunted place was abandoned. The cameraman is too scared to get near the haunted place, let alone go exploring, but a possible long-distance ghost sighting leaves him freaked out. I agree, there is something in the doorway. Whether it's a ghost or not is hard to say from here, but something is there and that's pretty weird. These videos posted by the Washington State Department of Transportation in January of 2020 have had thousands of people retweeting and speculating as to what was spotted that day on Sherman's Pass. The webcam photo shows a mysterious creature with not a trace of skin showing beneath, not even around the eyes and face. It doesn't look like a person, and it doesn't look like a costume, but it does look like it could be a bipedal humanoid covered in fur. One day later, a new official video of the same species, if not the same specimen, was released by the Department of Transportation. This time spotted at the Snoqualmie Pass, over 4 hours away. I think this second sighting looks more like a person than the first, and I think they might even be wearing a pair of boots, but it's too far away to tell. I think maybe this is a person who was inspired by the first sighting. It's too bad that this supposed creature chose to walk away from the camera instead of towards it so we could get a better look. What's different about both of these sightings and most others is the source. This is a government agency, not some random person on YouTube, so I think it's safe to say that something was definitely out there on both days. Whether it was a human or a real creature though, I cannot say. Maybe one day soon a third sighting will give us the final piece of evidence we need to make a solid conclusion. A strange and mysterious object is found in the woods by a YouTuber named Grant and has his whole group of friends startled by what's inside. Wrapped in tape and caught in the bushes is a creepy red color, faded from being out here so long. They pull at the tape and 3 minutes later, they are finally ready to reveal the revolting contents inside.
Hold on, open it up for a minute. I gotta record it.
Look it in there. What is that? What is it? What is it?
I don't know.
Gray floating chunks rise to the top of the gelatinous pile, an unknown mystery sludge that blows them back with a rotten stench on a windless day. They run away from it more than once. Things get weirder as a frightening conclusion creeps over them.
Like, this is like somebody's body. You like somebody's body? Huh?
I don't know. I'm holding my breath every time I go over there.
Okay, it's kind of sketch, bro. Like it was duct tape. I'm calling 911. Don't call the emergency one.
Someone is leaving this weird thing in the forest, one of the scariest finds of their life, and whoever it is has a lot of duct tape. There is a lake nearby, so I hope it's a fishing cooler full of improperly disposed bait, and not what they fear it is. We never get an answer to this unexplained video, so tell me what you think this mystery substance was that made them call 911. This video was taken from a waiting station at the Islamabad International Airport in Pakistan. Any strings attached to this chair would be easy to see on the bright and reflective cement floor, but I don't see any, and the chair slides across the room without anyone in sight. It looks like it might be getting pulled by someone off camera here at the 33-second mark, but then it does a 360 all of its own somehow, so that theory is pretty much debunked. There's also no way for magnets to work from beneath a solid concrete floor, so I have no idea how this was done. A YouTuber named Christian Weave is on an amusement park ride when he films something. The video shows an unlucky kid on the ground hanging onto his belt as the ride slowly comes to a stop.
We're not helping. Wow. That's up. We're just laughing.
These are not working!
It is unclear if he was unbuckled and hanging on during the entire ride. All his friends can do is laugh at his misfortune as he scrambles to his feet and slides back into a strap. Look closely and you'll see how all of the belts appear to be loosely wrapped around the passengers and not just him. Maybe the operator did not strap them in securely. If anyone knows the name of this ride, then please let me know. This video was recorded in Portugal sometime in 2001. It starts out with a group of friends just playing around with a home camera, which was pretty much considered a novelty back then. They are filming everything in the house for no reason at all for a long time, until they get bored and decide to try and contact some spirits. To do this, they make one of their friends named Nelson stand in a circle and concentrate in silence. Maybe it's just the power of suggestion, but Nelson sways for a bit and then tumbles to the ground. They aren't sure what to make of this. At this point, neither am I. So they make Nelson do it again, as they are trying to summon a spirit through Nelson for a second time. Something unexpected happens. This time another friend, Celestino, falls to the ground and begins convulsing. When he gets up, he is no longer the same person. If Celestino is acting here, he's doing an excellent job. Look at how his shoulder blades come jutting out of his back as he stands up aggressively. That definitely does not look normal. The rest of the video is them tracking Celestino as he behaves strangely outside. They don't know what to do, but at the same time they don't want to lose sight of him. Eventually they get split up, and when the one with the camera finds his friends again, none of them are in good shape.
Merda, foda-se, que é isto? O que é isto? Merda!
I really hope that this was just a fake video. It does almost seem like the Blair Witch Project at times, which was very popular in 2001. Then again, I wouldn't underestimate the power behind conjuring spirits, so I'll leave it up to you to decide. Amit Daksh has caught some scary activity at the Babina station in India that he thinks could be paranormal. He's filming a train pass by when a shadow figure passes in front of him at 20 seconds. He thinks this could be a real ghost sighting he's caught on tape, but I'm wondering if it's his own shadow under the train's bright lights. Something's weird about the angle though, so maybe it's a real person or a shadow figure like he claims. Freaky, right? This channel follows the adventures of a man named Jesse and his girlfriend Gina. They are having a nice date in San Francisco when suddenly Gina gets the close call of a lifetime. She tries to blame Jesse for not telling her to move until the last second, but it's rather apparent that he helped save her in reality. She was not looking in the right direction, and this video could have easily turned into their last moments together. There's no doubt that she would have not pulled through such an event. The Mikey Mike channel encounters a bizarre sighting in the clear blue sky that leaves him freaked out. The creepy moments were also caught on dash cam, so we can have a look too.
Word, in case you missed it, I'll give it to you again right now. It's easy. E-A-S-Y. Now what you want to do is take that code word easy and text that.
What the hell? Where the f*** did this come from?
A bolt of lightning touches down on a sunny day, no rain, hardly any clouds in the sky, and the few hanging around have not even a touch of gray.
There's no clouds here. Look, no clouds. Like it just came from space.
Mikey can't shake the feeling that he's seen something he was never meant to see. This video got me curious, and I was able to find a second one like it, half as long and twice as weird.
Oh, I hope I got that time. I don't know if I did or not. It's in the corner over here.
At 1 second, a flash of lightning touches down without intersecting with a cloud at all. It seems to just literally come out of the blue. I looked up what this was and came across a term called dry lightning that I have heard before but never really studied in depth. This is a name for what happens when precipitation evaporates really fast. It's technically raining, but we just don't notice because rain doesn't reach the ground, but lightning does. These two videos basically mean you can get struck down by a random bolt at any time, even on a nice day. There really is no safe time to stand under trees or by anything metal when you consider that this is apparently a common phenomenon. You might have almost gotten struck by lightning plenty of times without even noticing it because it's silent and you probably weren't looking up. Freaky, right? This is said to be a real ghost video from Singapore. A woman jogs down the road when she has a creepy encounter with a stranger who may or may not be paranormal. She doesn't hear any footsteps until he is running away. It's like he was never behind, and when she looks to where he just was, he's gone. Then he passes again and things get even scarier. You could pass somebody twice like this if you ran a wide loop around them, but why he would do this and scare her is something I doubt we could ever explain. I don't think this is paranormal, but I do think acting this way is not normal. I think it's most likely a short film, but there are no credits, and it presents itself as a real ghost video caught on camera in the description. What would you do if you woke up to an intruder silently lurking around your home? A woman and her baby were fast asleep in their room in Layton City, Utah, when a man broke into her home in the early hours of the morning. He didn't take anything and may have gone completely unnoticed. That is, if it wasn't for the woman's baby cam recording his every movement while she and her baby slept through the night. Although the doors were locked, the man somehow managed to get into the house and creep around the woman's bedroom in silence, peering over the nearby crib at the woman's 8-month-old son. Being that there were no signs of forced entry, they fear the intruder might not be a stranger, but rather someone who knows their garage code. Sometimes it's not what you don't know that's scary, it's who you know. We've all heard of the Headless Horseman, but have you heard of the Headless Errand Boy? Published to YouTube in February of 2020, this clip will have you doing a double take. The clip shows what appears to be a man without a head in Asia carrying a shopping bag as if just running some errands. He walks out into traffic and slides between two cars to cross the street. No one around seems to notice the oddity. The fact that he's without a head phases no one. The car he cuts in front of even beeps loudly, just hurrying him to get out of their way. So are our eyes deceiving us? Or is this just some fancy edit? This one has me scratching my head.
There's an alleged wolf cryptid that's said to roam the Allegheny National Park in Kane, Pennsylvania. The first sighting in 2017 describes it as tall, muscular, dark hair, and strange legs. This newer sighting 2 years later at the same location does show a mysterious creature with long, pointy wolf-like ears, but I'm not sure if it's real. First of all, when it takes a step at 44 seconds, the legs look normal and I'm pretty sure it's wearing clothes, not fur. Even the uploader of this video thinks it could have been a kid playing a joke. He says that the creature turned and ran after this video was taken, which I guess could have happened. But something about this video seems like it could have been made up, so I'm not exactly sure what to believe.
The following was submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Urban Ghost Hunters 901 while filming B-roll in an abandoned church for a future overnight investigation. He caught something frightening on camera. One camera was in a fixed place, capturing a steady shot of a book set on a railing, surrounded by lit candles, while the cameraman was behind the other camera, filming the rest of the room. You can hear the book hit the ground loudly in both shots, while the Steadicam captures its fall. Nothing visible pushed the book or caused it to fall to the floor. In the comments, Urban explains in a more detail what happened. I was going to do a pan-up shot from the back of the church, and as I started to pan up, my camera blurred, as if it were trying to focus. Not saying it's paranormal because it was in low light, but as it blurred, and I was looking through the LCD display, I saw something fly right in front of me. Seems like something paranormal had arrived. When you play with the paranormal, you're bound to get burned. Think it's probably time to get out of there. This one will get you all kinds of nervous. According to the video, paranormal events have occurred in Guadalajara, Mexico, when a tourist was visiting the cathedral where the saint lays. The young child's eyes opened. According to the website, La Obscura Habitación, the video was taken on December 12, 2012. The tourist who took the video footage on his cell phone claimed that he hadn't witnessed the child's eyes open at the time, but only saw it afterwards in viewing the video. The stories of how this saint became martyred are contradictory. Some stories call into question whether this is even the saint, as it's stated that all the reliquaries that remain of her are her skeletal hands. Whether this is the saint or not, the mystery begins and ends here. The girl is clearly past, has been for many years, and yet she's opening her eyes. This video was apparently leaked from a food processing facility somewhere in China. Here you can see workers loading a shredder full of miscellaneous plastic wrappers. Next, the camera follows the plastic as it makes its way down a tube and comes out as a long ribbon of thick sludge which is cut by hand with scissors. The next is to send the treated plastic sludge into a second machine that shreds it into very long and thin strings. These strings are fed into a high-speed shredder, which cuts them up into granules of rice to be served later. In other words, fake plastic rice. I don't believe this was real until I found other videos taken from factory workers. This one shows the exact same setup, long strings of plastic being shredded into tiny pieces of fake rice. I wonder what the long-term health consequences are after eating this non-food source for years. Hopefully this practice is soon banned and never makes it to other parts of the world. A YouTuber named Nicholas Asher is recording his 2 children when they nearly get more than just a little rain.
Whoa! Get inside! Get inside! Holy sh! Okay.
The lightning bolt hurtles down towards the kids and lands over in the next yard. From the sound of it, they quickly scatter to safety into the garage. Trevor, aka Hitch, has a live stream channel where he travels all across the country meeting new people. The only problem is the people he meets aren't always alive. He's staying overnight at a hotel that's supposedly haunted when scary things happen to him. The kind of stuff the hotel's owner would probably never want you to see because it would be bad for business.
I've never seen anything that can be explained. I've never heard anything that could have no explanation.
He is in the middle of talking about how he's never experienced a scary moment that couldn't be explained.
And I'm doing stuff where people, I think people would be like, you'd be very...
When suddenly some weird things caught on live stream leave him laughing uncontrollably with fear. I think he's laughing to cover up an intense sense of panic. A vein is about to bust out his forehead with adrenaline, suggesting his fight or flight instincts were triggered and he was gearing up for conflict. This was not someone in his hotel room because, unless I'm mistaken, he wasn't sharing a room with anyone in this video. He was staying all by himself when the lights turned on. I guess he could have asked a random person to help him make a ghost video, but his response seems genuine, so I don't think this moment is made up. I will say as a counterpoint that many other scary livestream moments like this have turned out to be fake though, so I'm not claiming this was 100% real. I'm just saying that this was really weird and he seems freaked out. Tell me if you think he was really staying in a haunted hotel that night. I think he was. After all, when you travel to different places all over the country, it's only a matter of time before one of them ends up being haunted. A YouTuber named Shanen Sarmi is excited to travel to California, but far less enthusiastic about her flight, specifically her window, which is not sitting in place and makes this unsettling noise.
Going through the window and I didn't tell anyone.
By the time she lands, the first of the 2 layers of glass has slid down enough to poke her finger through. It looks like she is sticking her hand out of the plane, but she actually isn't. There is one more layer of glass that is hard to see, but still, the thickness of the window is now halved. She notices something was wrong with her window during the flight, but did not tell anyone until the very end, not wanting to cause a panic. I see where she is coming from, and she might have just been too shy and scared to speak up, but I personally think she should have said something because they might have needed to make an emergency landing to fix it. She was trying to keep everyone calm by not telling, but looking at the condition of the window, I think it could have put everyone's lives in danger, but above all else, I'm just glad that she and everyone else was okay. A door closing by itself is another classic sign of a ghost haunting the place, and it doesn't always have to be a ghost slamming the door. A gentle closing is oftentimes twice as scary.
If you're out there, please shut this door one more time. That's all I'm asking. Just me. Oh my. Okay, I'm getting seriously freaked out right now.
The person who captured the paranormal activity says they were home alone when the door shut by itself a few times.
I don't believe that just happened. I didn't think I'd get anything. Well, I'm definitely going to be filming this area more.
He says a ghost slammed it shut in the past, but this time it shut it gently. Afterwards, he investigates the door to show us there's nobody standing on the other side because there's no room. It's apparently a haunted staircase, presumably leading to the attic. He says there are no open windows behind him, which was my guess. At 1 minute, you can see no string around the interior knob, which was my other guess. Freaky, right? This leaked video was reportedly taken by two friends somewhere in the United States. Their dog Jake starts to bark with excitement and really doesn't seem to want to go any further. Watch how the animal crosses directly in front of their snowmobile multiple times, almost like he's warning them to stop and turn around. The two friends don't really think much of it and keep going straight, and that's when they come face to face with it. A nearby tall gray creature sends them racing away. The alien-like creature doesn't make much of a sound at all, or at least not one that the camera can pick up, but I do think I can see its head turn towards them at the 2 minute and 20 second mark. The way the dog is acting before this happens also makes me believe this leak video could be real. The dog doesn't act aggressively at all, so either the animal is intimidated or this thing is not actually a threat. It's honestly kind of hard for me to tell if this is real or not, so I would like to get your opinion to help me decide. A live streamer named Lothar is in the middle of playing Hearthstone when he suddenly starts acting out of sorts. If you pay close attention to his face, you can see that he is clearly feeling some discomfort. He takes his headset off and tries to regain control over himself, but to no avail. And his wife finds him there. She tries to get him to come to his senses. Here is a brief excerpt of the call. I don't speak the language, but common sense gives me some idea of what she is saying. Still, any translations are appreciated.
Nie, ale tak wyglądało. Myślałam, że się czymś... Słucham? Tak, ale myślałam, że się czymś zadławił.
In case anyone is wondering, Lothar spent about a week recovering, but this has not happened since. Reet's boy records what he thinks is a rare creature sighting, and while I think he might be right, I would like your help to confirm. Some of the dogs in his neighborhood are going crazy, so he zooms in on where they're barking and just barely makes out this figure possibly watching from afar. At 38 seconds, you get a much better look when he zooms in.
Bro, do you see it?
It's hard to tell for sure, but I think something is definitely there, and it kind of looks like the upper half of a shadow person. Fear suddenly overcomes Reet's boy, and he runs back inside before it gets any closer. Definitely the smart choice. I'm trying to figure out if this person is really a modern day Zen master, or a simple street magician with a neat trick. He seems to be hovering in midair with nothing to support him, and not a single person in the audience, of all ages, can figure out how this is being done. With that said, I do notice a stick that he never lets go of. Either this is giving him strange levitating powers, which I somehow doubt, or he is using it to run something down his sleeve. Perhaps a small platform hidden under his clothes for him to sit on. I can't quite figure this one out, so give me some help if you know. As amazing as this would be if it was real, I can't help but think that someone who is this enlightened would probably be wise enough to keep their knowledge away from the public instead of putting on some sunglasses and showing off. With that said, if there was a video that showed him going from a standing position to floating, then I would be more inclined to believe. A YouTube channel called Exploring with Angelina is with some friends, and they are exploring an abandoned house that was apparently the scene of some very horrible events. The house is certainly creepy, and as they explore, the video has a feeling of unease, almost like something could pop out at any second. But it's at the 9-minute and 32-second mark when Angelina's friend looks into a dark room that things get beyond strange. She sees something so creepy, it sends her leaving with a high-pitched scream.
Oh my god.
Inside the room is basically a spider fortress, with webs covering almost every inch of the room. I feel bad for any future urban explorer who accidentally walks into that room, especially if you have a fear of spiders. This would be enough to scare you for life.